and welcome to Riding with Doug. And today, as promised, we are going to get into making the bracket for the wall to hold your tour pack on your Harley Davidson. And I'm going to set this one up so that it holds the tour pack plus a seat plus the backrest, because the two brackets are similar for the backrest and for the trunk, but like on my motorcycle I have both of them plus a seat, so I'm designing the new one for my buddy Brent so that he can, if he has both pieces, the trunk and the backrest, he can put those up on the rack and get those out of the way. Plus I know he's got two seats. He's got a solo seat and a two-up seat, so I'm going to set that up and make sure that he can get all of his stuff up and off the floor and out of the way so he doesn't have any issues. But first, what we need to do is take this bike and cover it up. Alright, now that we're covered up, we can get right into the process of building our bracket for the wall. So let's get right into that. And so I'm going to cut some pieces out and I'll kind of lay them out, and I will come right back and we will kind of put it together and weld it up, and I'll show you what I'm doing. And one of the things that is important to pay attention to is that all of your 2x4 beams in the wall should be center of the beam to center of the beam 16 inches, so that I can put the anchor screws at 16 inches so that I know that I'm going into the studs in the wall. And that's the key idea when putting weight on the wall, so that you've got fantastic support and you won't have to worry about the anchors coming out of the wall, because they'll be bolted straight to the 2x4s. Alright, let's get into cutting the pieces out, and I will lay those out for you and talk about step one.
Alright, so step one is all about laying out the pieces for the base that will go against the wall. And I took two pieces of 1-inch strip metal and I just cut them to 30 inches. And there's no plan for this. The measurements don't have to be too precise when you're deciding on the length along the wall, but I do prefer a little longer length in order to give you a little more stability and a little more balance on the wall itself, and doesn't put as much pressure on the bolts. So, and then I also did some 1/4-inch square tube to give a little rigidity to the two flat panel pieces. Alrighty, and what you're seeing here is I'm adding a little bit of pneumatic oil to the grinder so that I can grind off all of the paint on the two straps of metal. And anytime you're doing some welding, you want to make sure that you're welding metal to metal without paint, or else you're not going to get a good ground and your spark isn't going to be very good for your weld. So what I'm doing here is just doing a quick cleanup and grinding off all the paint and smoothing it out so that you have two nice pieces that you can weld straight onto. And then from here, what I did was take the 1/4-inch square tube and kind of line it up along the edge to give me some very good rigidity for the bar, because the 1-inch strap metal has a tendency to bend if you don't put a little support in it. So, and then also I'm planning to use that as the base for the arm that comes out from the wall. And I didn't get overly extravagant with the welding. I just added 3 strips of weld to both sides along the edge, and then along the inside edge where it would give good support to the straps. All right, on to step 2. And step 2 is we're going to build the arms that attach to the base. And what I have right now is a fantastic tool that welders use all the time, and it's basically a magnet all the way around. And what it does is allows you to weld at 90 degrees. So what you'll do is you'll put the magnet on the base, and then you can add your arm in, and that magnet will keep you at 90 degrees. And it is super helpful when you're trying to weld things at the correct 90 degree angle. So now is probably as good a time as any to mention that if you're doing this kind of work, if you're doing any kind of grinding or welding, please make sure to wear safety equipment. You'll notice I have a welder's helmet on that keeps me from having any sparks flying in my face, because you'll get hot slag that flies off of the welding. Not to mention, intensity of the light can literally fry your eyeballs. So you definitely don't want to do any of this work, whether it's grinding or welding, without safety equipment and protection. You'll also notice I'm wearing fairly thick leather gloves to help also protect from the welder and the heat, because the metal gets really hot regardless whether you're grinding on it or welding it. It's not anything you want to touch with bare skin. Okay, at this point, I've taken the arm straight out from the base, and then to give support to the arm, I went in and welded a 45 degree bracket to take the weight of the arm off of the arm and put it to the base against the wall. And what that'll do is take all of the weight off of the end of the arm and give good support to hold up the trunk. And then, so this is the basic base setup, and then all we have to do from this point is add the 2 bars that go across that you'll hook the quick release from the trunk into. And then you just have to make sure that you push them out away from the wall enough that you're not hitting the front of the trunk on the wall. Alrighty, step 3 is time to put it together. So I've cut both of those bars so that my bracket was 16 inches wide, so that the holes would line up with the 2x4s in the walls. And then I spaced out the 2 bars so that they would fit the trunk release latches. And finally, I added a extra support bar that goes across to help give good horizontal support, since I already had fantastic vertical support. And then in the middle of my horizontal bar, I also added a peg so that my buddy Brent could hang his seat that he wasn't currently using on the rack as well. So it gets it up off the floor and out of the way, and then you don't have to worry about leaving it in the middle of the floor in the garage and getting run over or beat up or ripped or whatever. Alrighty, and that's really the bracket that I designed for the Harley Davidson trunk and seat for Brent's Harley. And I did go back and clean up some of the welds and grind everything smooth. And I did not paint it because I wanted to give him the option of either having it powder coated or painting it whatever color he was interested in, instead of painting it red and he wanted it black. So I left it without paint so that he could make those options for himself. Alrighty, and that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for watching how to build a bracket to mount your backrest, trunk, an extra seat in the garage. As always, if you're getting good content from these videos and you're enjoying my channel, I'd appreciate it if you just take a second to like and subscribe to the channel. And we will see you on the next video.